talking air pollution now, and when the first lockdown happened and people were forced to stay at home, pollution levels significantly decreased. Now, research has shown that 62% of us miss how clean the air was during the first national lockdown. We're going to discuss this further. Victoria Pendleton joins us on the line, and also meteorologist Clare Nasir. So Clare, I'm going to start with you. One of the first things that I noticed was when I went out for a walk during the first lockdown, just how clear and clean the air was. Then when the lockdown was over and all the traffic was back on the roads, you actually noticed how bad the air pollution actually was. And that's what this new research has found, hasn't it?
That's absolutely right, yes. This research that E.ON has conducted is very timely because we've experienced something where the air was incredibly clean for about 6 weeks or so. And not only that, we were able to step out in the sunshine. Everyone saw such an amazing spring despite the uncertainty, but in weather conditions. And normally when we get high pressure, we get poor air quality. So there's always a sort of darker side to those moments where it's dry and sunny. So this research has been not only timely, but very insightful. And, you know, we asked 4,000 people how they feel about air pollution, and 86% of them came back and said, we need to know more about it. And I think that is because we did experience this sort of amazing clean air, the sparkle to the sky through that short period of time.
So where can people go to get more information and find out just how bad it is for our health?
Well, DEFRA is the website which we use, and that produces air quality bulletins and reports every day. However, it's not easily accessible, and that's why this Change the Weather Service campaign is so important. And what E.ON is encouraging people to do, and that's people like myself, broadcasters, is to talk daily about the air quality level. And they're making it easier for us to do that because the data is going into a central zone, which is PA News and other media outlets. And so we can pick up that information in a really quick way, efficient way, and then deliver that information to everybody else so they can make informed decisions about whether it's a poor air quality day or a good one.
Right, let's bring Victoria in now. Victoria, this has been a subject that you've been campaigning for many years now, haven't you?
Well, I'm always encouraging people to get on their bikes for many reasons, whether that's health benefits, environmental benefits, mental health benefits, and air pollution is something that's an invisible threat. I have trained in some of the most polluted cities in the world during my time as an athlete, and I can honestly say it does make a massive difference on how you feel and how you can perform. But it doesn't discriminate. It's not just people who are training outside and breathing in a lot of air. Everybody, even making a daily commute, is potentially breathing in toxic chemicals. And I think a lot of people in the survey, I think 83% felt that if they had more information, they'd be more likely to make a difference and take action to improve the air quality. And I think that's really important. So whether that's making a small journey by foot or by bike, using local amenities and services and travelling less if possible, when possible, not only can help your health in many ways, reduce air pollution, but also support the local economy. So there's lots of benefits in many ways.
I suppose for people watching this, they're going to realise that things are only going to get worse over the next few years for their kids and their families growing up, aren't they?
Well, that's it. And I know that everybody who is in a city area or during these periods of fine weather where we're outside and trying to enjoy taking our exercise, and some of us, that's the only thing we've been allowed to do is take an hour's exercise during this sort of challenging time. And you want to know and understand that the air quality is good and you don't want to be doing yourself any damage. And actually Claire's in more of a position to talk about this because she's personally been affected by poor air quality in her family, and that's something that I think has really inspired her to sort of champion E.ON's message.
Let's go back to Clare. Clare, tell us the experiences you had with your family.
My experiences started about 10 years ago when my daughter was born. She was very premature and she was on life support for a while. But so when I eventually took her home from hospital and we lived in central London, I realised that she was very vulnerable to anything indoors or outdoors. When I stepped out side, and I lived next to two lanes of heavy traffic. It was the A1, which goes into one of the central arteries into central London. I noticed she started coughing, and this cough became incessant. She had an inhaler from a very early age, and my daughter was only 3.5 pounds when she was born. So imagine those tiny little lungs trying to cope with all that toxicity. And then fast forward 2 years later, and we moved to the northwest of England into the suburbs. And things changed. Within about 2 or 3 months, that inhaler was gathering dust, on the side, and she was a lot healthier. And that speaks volumes to me, and about how the impact of this invisible killer affects everybody. But particularly for me, it was a personal journey from being so worried about her when she was coughing, almost choking, to a point where she's just thriving in a clean environment. Wow. And we all have a right to breathe in clean air. And that's why making informed decisions where the information is out there and is really available is a good step in the right direction.
Now, I also wanted to talk to you about your book, What Does Rain Smell Like? That's a book that's been very well received, hasn't it?
Thank you very much, Robin. Yes, it's a book, 100 questions about weather here in the UK and everywhere else. And weather's a talking point every day, really, in some shape or form. Our weather changes from hour to hour, and for us it's something it's good to learn more about. And for kids in particular, looking up into the sky, it's an amazing way to engage with them and science on a beautiful and a sort of a poetic level.
So where did your interest in the weather start? Were you interested right from childhood?
Yes, for me, weather has been something that I've lived and breathed since being a child. I was quite a geeky child, and mathematician by trade early on in my career. But from my point of view, it's something which is always out there. And I feel very lucky in this country that our weather does change. It changes from day to day, which is good news for air quality as well, because we don't get that dry, quiet weather day in, day out. It does shift, and that means we can breathe in good air quality. But understanding meteorology gives you an insight into how people's lives can pan out, and living in towns and cities, and sometimes can be quite detrimental during those times when we do have high pressure anticyclonic conditions. And you can look into the sky and check out even the sunset will tell you a lot about what particulates are in the atmosphere at that time.
So let's bring Victoria back. Victoria, you've been a cyclist for many years, and obviously health and fitness is very important to you. But during these COVID times, it's also very important to kind of help and improve your mental health, isn't it?
Exactly. In fact, I think we were very lucky in some respects that we were given the opportunity to spend more time outdoors in clean air, but also appreciating the environment. I think I saw a lot more people out taking walks with the family as well. So that was also a positive thing, which is good for mental health. I think being outdoors, appreciating nature, enjoying it is very, very powerful, and I think can't be underestimated. And I hope that despite lockdown being a very difficult and uncertain time, that people may have established different habits that will benefit them in the future, because these are difficult and challenging environment we live in this day and age, and there are a lot of stresses and pressures and expectation, and taking a little bit of time out in your day to look after your mind and your body, I think, is essential.
Now I have to talk to you as well about Don't Rock the Boat. That looked like tough television to do.
Oh, at least when I was out on the ocean, I was breathing beautiful fresh air. Some of the places in the Highlands of Scotland, quite a lot of air as well, can I just say, because we were in the wake of Storm Ellen. So it was definitely an experience.
So is it an experience that you would do again? Would you do any more of these reality TV shows?
Well, I have actually inquired about doing another ocean row, but I'm going to hold on to that one for the time being.
Well, Victoria and Claire, it's been great talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you.
Thanks, Robin.